This is Valley News Live at noon.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Anna Johnson. A man who tried to get away from police is in the hospital with critical injuries after crashing his car during a chase. A state trooper tried pulling over the man after complaints about his driving on I-94 west of Alexandria yesterday afternoon, but they say he took off. During the pursuit, the driver clipped another vehicle, lost control of his car, and ended up rolling in a ditch. 36-year-old Barry Johnson of Hollywood, South Carolina, is being treated for life-threatening injuries in St. Cloud. The driver of the car he hit was not seriously hurt. Troopers say alcohol was involved in the crash. A Horace man escaped a frightening lightning strike unharmed, but his pickup is totaled. Lightning hit Jason Remark's vehicle yesterday in Fisher, Minnesota. By the time deputies arrived, the truck was fully engulfed, but Remark had gotten out safely. As the Red River Valley Fair winds down, the temperatures are still going up. Let's go to meteorologist Lisa Green with a look at your weekend forecast. Lisa?
Well, good afternoon. It's nice to see blue skies there on our sky cam after those storms went through yesterday and overnight last night. We had another lightning strike that was pretty scary here. Look at this thin tree here. You can see part of the tree has been stripped of its bark and pieces of it kind of shattered on the ground here. And Emily took this photo by the Crookston area, not too far. Overnight last night this happened, and we're looking at that lightning damage likely caused that. So, you know, even if a storm is not severe, as long as it's producing lightning, as we've seen with two different instances, it can produce some serious results. And on top of that, we've seen some large hail with the storms and some heavy rain. This is a picture from the Blanchard area. This is since yesterday afternoon. Linda took this photo of her rain gauge with more than 4 inches of rain there. And we've had reports from northern Cass and southern parts of Trail County of more than 4 inches of rain. Hunter, the Grandin area, Gardner, Barnesville also, a viewer checking in with 2¼ inches of rain. And in the FM Metro, we've had about 2 inches of rain reported there. On the Fargo side, 1.95, Moorhead, 2 inches of rain reported there. So picking up quite a bit in some instances. So we're getting a little break here. We've got those blue skies and temperatures are rising. We're getting into upper 70s, some low 80s right now. And as we take you through our hourly planner, we'll continue to see those numbers climb into the upper 80s. And maybe you noticed it's starting to feel more muggy out there. That combined with the heat building in for the weekend is going to lead to some trouble for some folks. It's going to get tough to be outdoors in that kind of weather. So details on the heat wave to come here in just a couple of minutes.
But it's making for a very beautiful day here in the valley, Lisa.
It is beautiful, and I'm glad those storms have moved on so we can actually get to enjoy the day.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Today, the House is expected to vote on 2 bills that would restore and guarantee abortion access nationwide as Democrats make their first attempt at responding legislatively to the Supreme Court's landmark decision overturning Roe v. Wade. One of those bills would prohibit punishment for a woman or child who decides to travel to another state to get an abortion. It specifies that doctors can't be punished for providing reproductive care outside of their home state. The second bill would enshrine abortion access as protected under federal law. Absentee voting for the August 9th primary is underway in Minnesota, and election officials say with new rule changes, you won't have as much time to get your ballot in this year. One of those big changes, you'll need a witness for your ballot. Esme Murphy has more.
Early voting in Anoka County has been pretty slow, reflecting a statewide trend. So far this year, 20,000 people have voted absentee statewide. That compares with 78,000 at this time in 2020. That saw a high turnout in part because it was a presidential year. 2020 was also the height of COVID restrictions.
There were some rules imposed for 2020 only, either by courts or by legislatures, that are not present this year. So we're sort of snapping back to what we had in 2018, 2016, and the like.
This year, you will need a witness signature on your absentee ballot. The witness requirement was waived because of COVID. If an absentee ballot is rejected here in Anoka or in any county around the state because of the witness signature, the elections office will send out a replacement ballot to that voter. In 2020, your ballot had to be postmarked by Election Day. This year, it has to be back by Election Day.
This time around, there's no extension past Election Day. It needs to be in order for it to be counted.
Another change hits election officials. This year, absentee ballots can be counted starting 7 days before the election, not 14 days before, like 2020. Secretary of State Steve Simons says this could mean slower returns on election night. In the city of Anoka, Esme Murphy, WCCO 4 News.
This year is also a once-in-a-decade redistricting year. That means thousands of voters will find themselves in new districts and even new polling places. Switching gears, here's a traffic alert for people driving in West Fargo, including those of you heading out to the Red River Valley Fair. There's a lane closure starting today on eastbound Main Avenue west of 4th Street East. That's near the post office and McDonald's. The lane will be closed until next Thursday for work on the north-south bikeway. And on I-94 in Moorhead, work on guardrails has traffic down to one lane in both directions, causing traffic backups during peak travel times. In addition, as people take alternate routes, traffic may move slower on University Avenue South and 52nd Avenue in Fargo, and on 60th Avenue in Moorhead to the 8th Street roundabout, so make sure you plan a little extra time if you'll be in those areas. Coming up at noon, calling for help. We all know to dial 911 during an emergency, but there will soon be another number to call in specific situations. And next, the heat is on the way. We'll see temps and humidity on the rise as we head into the weekend.